JB.
Hello.
Looking forward to it?
No.
One of the things I've been thinking about this week is how invaluable your club mates are. I have to admit that I tend to forget that they're really some of my closest best friends. They see me at my best, they see me at my worst, they also see me about as undressed as I possibly get. And I see them really regularly and I get to know them incredibly well. And I kind of wanted to use this video just to say a big thanks to all the people that I do run and swim and sometimes bike with. My club mates in athletics clubs and cycling clubs and triathlon clubs and all those things. Genuinely day to day, when I see you guys, it really does make me feel incredibly good. Had to say goodbye to a dear friend of ours last week, a guy called Glyn, who wasn't just a club mate but also a dear friend of our families. We went over to the Tour de France in 2018 and stayed at my dad's with Glyn and my father-in-law, who was a really good friend of Glyn's, and we had his funeral on Thursday, and he was just a beautiful, lovely, encouraging man who would always give you some advice and always be really encouraging. And I guess that's the role of a friend as well as a club mate, and I just wanted to extend my thanks to those people, and that perhaps maybe I'm not always as good as I could be to you, and that maybe I should try and remember that you're first and foremost, you're my friends, but you're also who I train next to, and it means a huge deal to me, whether it's in the pool, whether it's out on the seafront running, or whether it's going out for a nice little bike ride around the hills where we live. So that's what I've been thinking about this week. It's nothing too scientific, nothing too technical, but value your club mates, value your friends that are around you, the ones who pick you up when you're down and the ones that rely on you for picking them up when they're down. So this week I have been mainly running. I decided to run because the weather is just so horrible. As much as I love cycling and it's my favourite sport, it's kind of the only one that I actually really follow. I don't really follow triathlon or swimming or running or athletics or anything. I generally follow the cycling. As much as I love being out on my bike, I decided that running would probably be the most accessible thing to do. So in the last 7 days I've done 6 runs. I've totaled over 40 kilometres, which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't a massive amount of mileage, about 25, 26 miles. When you compare that to somebody like Colin McCourt that's kind of on the verge of doing a 100-mile week. I know I'm not quite in the same league as some of you kind of high mileages, but for me that is a big breakthrough because I've actually enjoyed every single step of every single run. Majority of the runs that I've done this week have been pretty easy runs, properly in zone 1, really easy, just enjoying every step of what I'm doing. And then I did a couple of slightly higher paced runs, one of them not intended to be that way. It was supposed to be an easy run and turned into a progression run because I bumped into a friend of mine, Morph, who was training with Cleveland Athletics, and he decided to run with me, and my minute per kilometre times tumbled all the way until I could get myself home. He was chatting away the whole way. And I also did a prom run, which is our Western Supermare run that we have once a month. I haven't done one of these since the beginning of the season in September because of being poorly and all sorts of other things. So I decided to go down to the prom run and treat it just purely as a progression run, all 8 kilometres of it. I was actually going to use the last kilometre as a bit of a cool down, but I was feeling pretty good, so I pushed it a bit. It's second worst time I've ever done, but it was part of my training really. I'm not worried about times. What I am worried about is just getting the miles in and time on my feet. But I did enjoy the prom run. It's the one that I've got to do by May in a pair of Speedos, and I'm hoping to be a bit lighter than I am now when I do that. And then those of you that watch the videos regularly will know that just down the road from where I am, about 800 metres away from my front door, I've got a lake and the sea where I can swim, which I'm very lucky about. And 800 metres in the other direction, I've got a swimming pool, which I swim at most of the time at Strode. But what I haven't kind of spoken about more often is the fact that even closer than that, between where I live and where the lake is and along the seafront, we have a park run every Saturday. I'm sure the park run doesn't need any introduction to you guys. Started up in the middle of last year by a mate of mine called Tom Sharp, so massive respect to him. Alex Burgoyne, a friend of ours who is our bridesmaid at our wedding, she was the race director this weekend. And I went down and did it with Indy, my youngest son, 8 years old. He came down and ran his first ever 5K, super proud of him. His pace was firmly in my zone 1, so we had a brilliant time down there chatting to all the runners. And so I ticked over 40 kilometres just this morning, and I'm actually going to go out for a second run. I'm going to get out for just a short little run just before it gets too dark. In other training stuff, I've had my usual 3 swim sessions this week, 2 master sessions, and then 1 technical session that I do on my own on a Wednesday. Monday last week was a bit of a taxing session. We did 11 100s off of, I think we had 15 seconds recovery, and we swam them around about 1:30, 1:32, and I'm really happy about that because it means that my 100 time is about where it should be. So all in all, to kind of summarise this week's training, I've thoroughly enjoyed the running. I want to try and keep it around that 40km mark, but rather than doing 6 runs, I want to do 4, which is going to involve me doing a couple of longer runs, but I'm going to do those firmly in zone 1. I'll probably do 1 progression run and maybe a shortish interval run, and I want to keep the 3 swims up this week, but I want to start introducing the bike back, and if the weather's going to stay like it is at the minute, they're going to be on the turbo. So I'm hoping to do maybe 2 1-hour sessions on the turbo this week, one of them just getting the legs spinning and the other one is a bit of an interval session. So should just be starting to push back into that zone where I should be. In terms of eating, I'll give myself maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10 this week. I've had some really good days and some not so really good days. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself with it because it is supposed to be fun. I watched a brilliant video by Eric Lagerstrom, which I'll put a link to up here, which I recommend you all watch, in terms of just the fact that triathlon's a really good fun thing to do, and it is, and I'm enjoying my running and my swimming at the moment, and I'm looking forward to when this weather kind of dies down and we can get ourselves back on the bike safely outside rather than having to be stuck inside a bloody shed. Right, that's the first run done of the week. I'll see you next week. Do me a favour, subscribe here, some other videos you might be interested in seeing here. Don't forget to hit the like button. Have a good week, try and get as many miles in running as you can. I'll see you in week 92.